It's the Real Estate Podcast, brought to you by ANZ Home Loans for financial well-beings.
Hey, welcome back to the Real Estate Breakfast for our non-stop marathon all the way around 2025 with plenty of real estate as we break it all down for you. Yes, the Australian property market, there is always something going on. Thank you for the many emails that we're still getting week by week. A lot of them just letting us know where you're listening in the world to us from. It is a Saturday, May the 31st, nearly into June. Got a piece here from PropTrack. Now, over 150 buyers are in limbo after the luxury apartment project called 35 Maryvale in South Brisbane was placed into receivership. Now, it was planned as a 30-storey, $180 million tower by Talus Property Group. The development stalled after the builder, Descon Group Australia, collapsed with debts exceeding $390 million. But despite partial construction, the site is now for sale with no obligation to the previous buyers. And with the development approval intact, the development they think is going to attract another developer. Now, if you are caught up in that, let us know, because it seems like a lot of people are. And our email address is myrealestatepodcast@gmail.com. Let's take you to Queensland right now and catch up with Scott Mitchell from Mitchell's Realty. And good morning to you, Scott. I mean, this is something that we heard quite a lot about during the GFC, of course, with developers going belly up. And Hervey Bay, where you are, you weren't immune either with some of those developers collapsing.
Certainly that GFC caught us all off guard. It didn't matter whether it was here in Australia, Queensland or around the world. Fairly significant financial event, brought a lot of developers undone, and we had three major complexes across Hervey Bay that had just reached completion at that point. And unfortunately, they did go into receivership. A couple of them have changed hands a few times, but they're all up and running well now. And Hervey Bay is still booming. It really is. We obviously had Tropical Cyclone Alfred there that we've spoken about in our previous podcasts. And then we had the election. And they're all things that people will use as an excuse, I'll call it, to be indecisive. It's crazy when you work in real estate to observe how your buyer inquiry can go from really strong and then almost overnight it's like someone turned the off switch. And it was like pause through all that period. But since that interest rate reduction we just saw at 0.25%, our buyer inquiry has just surged ahead. It's been hard to keep up with the last week and a half specifically.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of different companies reporting exactly the same thing. Post the election, all this activity that seems to be working in conjunction with the rate cut by the RBA. All right, well, let's talk about Hervey Bay because it's in the heart of the Fraser Coast. If you don't know, it is sitting alongside Maryborough, known as the whale-watching capital of Australia, and it's become the world's first official whale heritage site. That was back in 2019. And it is also the gateway to the stunning Fraser Island, the largest sand island on Earth. So it is no surprise that Hervey Bay's population is booming since the election that you are talking about. Let's talk about Propertyology's data because they've been reporting just how strong it is at the moment.
Yeah, certainly. Look, the recent PropTrack data that we get through Terry Ryder, who we consign and work with for our market snapshots across Hervey Bay specifically. Back in February, it revealed that in the last 12 months across our postcode, we had 1,261 house sales across the whole market in that 12-month period leading up to February. And we've experienced that firsthand. It has just been a really strong market. It's because we're just so affordable. When you still look at our market compared to just about anywhere south of us, we're just so affordable. We've got great natural assets around us, as you've just mentioned. It's got a lot going for it, and people are realising that. And I think we're about to go into a really strong selling period, is my gut feeling.
Yeah, and if you have a look at the numbers in terms of growth, expecting 77,000 residents by 2041. And here's what makes it unique. It appeals to both retirees and young families, which you've talked a lot about. The economy's solid. Now, the Fraser Coast's gross regional product hit $5.45 billion. That was in 2023's financial year, growing by 3.8%. Unemployment is falling. That is down to 5.3% from last year. It is improving steadily. And you're talking about some of these prop track numbers. When we come back, Scott is going to break down some of these areas, some of these suburbs and some of the prices, median house prices and unit prices. So we'll do that after this.
From the emotion of property, the economic inflation, managing your expectations, lack of stock, price growth, construction appetite, days on the market. Stay informed with us and know your property.
This is interesting. Energy-efficient homes are quickly shifting from nice to have to must-have for buyers across Australia, and they're commanding a noticeable price premium. A new Domain report reveals that nearly half of all current property listings highlight energy savings features, such as solar power, double glazed windows and north-facing designs. These upgrades, now they don't just offer comfort, they also help you cut your energy bills as well. And Domain's Chief of Research, Nicola Powell, she is going to be joining me on Monday morning, and we're going to be talking about this huge change in consumer behaviour in buying because the demand is surging, particularly among, and this is the interesting part, among middle Australia as power prices continue to rise for thousands of households. So check that out on Monday.
Explore new property destinations where you could live with exclusive interviews covering real estate news and market insights.
Now, investors, you were saying off air that you're getting the inquiries about the Airbnb. They're calling you, they're seeing a property, they're going, aha, I wonder if I can snatch that for an Airbnb.
Yeah, look, I mean, we've got the traditional investor model. I mean, the yields have come back a little bit on those 6 to 12 month leases. However, what we do have a lot of, and I mean, it ranges from $500,000 studios to $1.5 million one bedrooms and even $2.5 million two bedrooms, is people looking for that city base. You know, when they're coming up or down from the coast or from the mountains, they want to, get that feeling of being in the city. But then when they're not there, they want to be able to rent it out short term, so it's generating them some income. And it's a big question on a lot of investors' lips when they come into our open homes is, hey, Angelo, can I rent this out on Airbnb without any headaches? And you'll be surprised how many lockboxes you'll find walking up and down the streets of Potts Point, because it's a big thing around here.
And just in terms of the investors, how much money do they go up to in terms of spending?
Look, I mean, I can tell you some extreme cases. I showed a client through something on Saturday for a $3 million two bedroom that's probably going to get about $2,000 a week on a long-term lease. But, on shorter things, you could be looking upwards between $6,000 and $7,000 a week just to rent that out. So it's, we've got all sorts, but the majority of the markets sit between that $500,000 to $1 million.
And it is a real estate Saturday. The weekend is here. Plenty of people out and about looking for a property. Good luck if you are at the auctions today. We are on the Fraser Coast and talking to Scott Mitchell there. Let's talk about these prop track numbers, Scott, because you can give us a little bit of a breakdown on some of these areas performing pretty well and some of the median house price range.
Yeah, for sure. And it's been such a consistent trend, Craig. I've been following it, obviously. This will be our 20th year working in Hervey Bay real estate. Those latest statistics give us 198 sales was across Urangan, with 164 sales in Point Vernon, but Irraween still saw 159. So it's just been a strong, steady market for the last 12 months across all of Hervey Bay. To that medium average sale price. So Scarness, I think we spoke about this last podcast, was we've got Scarness still sitting as an average medium sale price around that $570,000. $600,000, which there's not too many beachside suburbs that you can buy into under $600,000. And that's why some people are now looking at buying these properties as a holiday home, which we touched on last month. And I'll go into a bit more detail in our next podcast on holiday home options for those looking to buy a property in a great beachside location like Hervey Bay and use it when you want to use it. And then you can actually rent that property out to hold its holding costs or to cover its holding costs when you're not using it. And we've still got plenty of opportunities for that type of purchasing or investment across our market.
Yes, and we're talking all the time about the growth of Hervey Bay. It's very affordable, but if you look at some of these other areas, Wandunna, now that rose 30%, I'm not sure if I said that right, to 830 grand. Pialba, that was up 26%, and Dundarran Beach, that gained a 20% appreciation, Scott.
Certainly, Craig. And those two suburbs there, Wandunna and Dundarran Beach specifically, really make Hervey Bay unique. That fact that they are nearly all half acre or 2,000 square metre allotments. There's no sewage mostly in those locations, so they all run on these new water treatment plants or grey water systems. They're always going to be 2,000 square metres or half an acre in the old scale across the board. And you can buy a large property like that with a lovely home under $1 million within minutes to the beach. So there's not too many locations offer that value still today, and we're in a upward trending market as well.
Yes, and talking about that upward trend, the units have been trending and rising upwards as well. But the fact is, you've still got median unit prices that are around that 450K. Rangan, that tops the list. You've got Torquay. Yeah, I mean, people have got to be pretty impressed, those first-time buyers able to get into your market. Let's not forget, it is a beachside sort of a vibe and a feel that you're buying into. It's lifestyle.
It is, and we've got the only north-facing esplanade and beach on the East Queensland. Like, it's a beautiful place. If you haven't been to Hervey Bay, Google it, check it out. Better yet, jump on a plane and fly up here. And on that note, Jetstar, we were getting that one flight a week from Melbourne directly into Hervey Bay. As of, I believe it's in July, so it'll be another couple of months away. But from July, we're going to see 3 direct flights a week coming in from Melbourne, and we get daily flights into Sydney every day with Jetstar.
No, it's definitely got the connectivity. What about the rental demand? How is that travelling at the moment?
Yeah, still sitting under 1%. And again, it's more affordable in a lot of locations to rent here, but that shows the strength of our investment markets. And we're seeing more investor activity today than we have in many years because it's still a great opportunity to buy into our market as an investor, and the returns are strong with high rental demand, and that's unlikely to change.
All right, we'll leave it there, Scott. Sounds like a very busy time there on the Fraser Coast. I keep saying the Fraser Coast. It's a little bit naughty of me because it's got a new name.
I still call it Hervey Bay specifically, and my favourite cliche line is just another day in paradise.
Yeah, there you go. All right, well, enjoy your weekend and look forward to talking soon.
Thanks, Greg. I look forward to catching up next month.
I used to do busking a little bit embarrassingly as a magician on the streets at our Salamanca markets, and then throughout college, a long history of theatre and performing arts. So it's the perfect marriage of real estate and performing arts, really. So that's what started my obsession with it.
There's a set time. How difficult is that with the timing of it?
This year it was 16 minutes, and then you started incurring penalties after that 16 minutes. You have to do a number of things, and you get judged on a series of criteria, which totals to about 500 points. The majority of the points comes down to the bidding. So one of the major contributing factors of the bidding is the calculations of bid. So you get marked quite harshly if you incorrectly calculate a bid. So you're better to take your time and get it right. But under pressure up on stage, it's a whole different kettle of fish.
We connect you to the best real estate information across Australia. The Real Estate Podcast.